It's time for The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome into The Frangie Show. JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Frank Frangie wrapping up his vacation. He will rejoin us Monday. We can't wait to see him and hear all about his trip to Pittsburgh. JJ, we've got a lot to get to today. Let me set the scene for you because this is a gigantic show. Are you ready for a gigantic show on a Friday, or are you already cashed out and looking to Saturday and Sunday and getting some time off?
I'm very ready.
I walked in to the lounge area that we have, and you're reading a book that looks like it's 1,000 pages. And it's just this red book with no cover. What were you reading?
It's about the Middle Ages. It's not very exciting.
Why are you reading it?
Because I thought it would be better than it is.
I mean, is it like it's a fictional story?
No.
Oh,
no.
It's like a historic.
I don't read fiction. I'm not a girl, bro.
You're such a scholar. I mean, it was impressive. I walk in to talk to you just about show stuff, and you're like, I feel like I'm like coming in to talk to you about like your syllabus. You know, like I have a question about what we're gonna do this
as
semester.
A professor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you looked. You had the book is why you had the look going. It was an intimidating book. So how far into that are you?
I'm about done.
Really? Well, so you got to finish it, even though you're not really enjoying it.
I will finish no matter how terrible a book is.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a movie.
Yeah.
If you're at a movie, I've never left a movie theater before.
Yeah, I don't know that I have either. I don't know that I've ever walked out of a movie. Spanglish, I was close. Did you ever see that with Adam Sandler?
No.
It's atrocious. But I don't know that it was when he tried to do drama. Do you remember that period where he was like, Jim Carrey had the same thing, where it's like, instead of like making movies where I'm going to, make this hilarious 90-minute movie and get a big paycheck, I want to prove I can be a dramatic actor.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen any Sandler drama movies.
Yeah. Well, you don't add that to your list. But anyway, it was impressive, and so it's kind of intimidating. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to intellectually hang with you. So I'm just going to kind of keep it to sports and pop culture for the next 2 hours. But yeah, we're going to get to a ton of stuff today. We're going to open the show talking about the college football playoff because Bruce Feldman, who does a great job for The Athletic, he did a mock-up of what he expects we're going to see. And I haven't really seen this. When Frank and I have done this in previous weeks, we kind of use last year's standings to kind of try and figure out what it's going to look like. And Bruce did a really good job of giving us his thoughts on what the first 12-team playoff might look. So we're going to lead off with that. And I also want to get a thought from you, JJ. It's sort of a Florida State Big Ten thought involving Miami. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Florida and what is Florida's path to making the college football playoff. Now, before you laugh, I understand it is a long shot. Our good buddy Mark Long, who covers the Gators for the Associated Press, also covers the Jaguars, joined us a couple days ago and said that he believes it's more likely they go 10-2 than 2-10. I'm going to lay out the case for why I think Florida can go 9-3 if it's the right 9 and make the playoff. So we're also going to do that. We're going to finish out our Jaguars feature that we've done all week, the Jaguars top 25 players. Today will be 21 through 25. And again, I think while it's interesting to see who's 21 through 25, at least on my list, I think what really illustrates the depth of the roster is who didn't even make the list. And again, we're not counting rookies. So I think it gave me a better sense of the quality of the roster in doing this. So we'll continue to talk about that. We're going to do headlines at 4:40 today, or more of our usual slot, because we want to have Pete Prisco from CBS Sports, our good friend, joining us at 5. He's got to be in a lather. The Panthers play tonight in a game it's getting kind of, you're up 3-2, but Edmonton has seized all the momentum in the Stanley Cup final. So Florida can wrap it up tonight, but they've already blown 2 chances to do that, including a game at home the other night. So Panthers tonight, I know Pete will be locked in on that, but we'll talk all sorts of NFL. Pete did his top 100, ranking the top 100 players in the NFL. It was really interesting. And so a lot of it will be about that, and he's got Josh Allen 23rd and Trevor Lawrence 62nd, so we'll talk to him about that, but also just the division. Houston had great representation. The Titans had a couple guys, and the Colts had none. So we'll talk to Pete about that, and just also the teams that had the most representation. and which rankings were the hardest for him. And sometimes when you do a list like this, I used to have to do these lists sometimes, like in the newspaper industry, and sometimes you do a list and it still even happens today. Like you get surprised by things, like something will stand out that maybe you didn't really go into the exercise thinking, and then in doing it, you sort of realize something. So it'll be good to catch up with Pete and get his thoughts on that. So we've got a lot of stuff to get to on the Frangie Show. Appreciate you being with us. But let's get into this college football projection. Again, you can read it on the Athletic site. It's done by Bruce Feldman, who does an outstanding job covering college football. And JJ, I'm just going to go through the top 4 seeds. And then what I'd like to do is when we get into the matchups, I want you to tell us who's going to win. Can you handle that for us?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All righty. So Bruce Feldman has as the 1 seed the Big Ten champion, Ohio State. So he's got the Buckeyes 1. The 2nd seed, he has Georgia as the SEC champion. So the Bulldogs are the 2 seed. I'm assuming that means he thinks Ohio State goes undefeated and Georgia has a loss. The 3 seed is the ACC champion. JJ, who do you think Bruce has there?
Florida State.
Very good. He does. He has the Noles as a 3 seed. And again, it doesn't really matter about the AP rankings or the coaches' top 25. How the system works is the Power 4, the conference champions, they get the bye. So that's how it's going to line up. And then and then you go.
I didn't
from
even
there.
realize that. That's terrible.
Yeah. So Florida State as the ACC champion is the 3 seed. This is where it gets really interesting. The 4 seed, the Big 12 champion, is Utah. So Utah gets a bye as the Big 12 champion. So those are the 4 teams that they don't have to worry about the first week.
I was under the impression that this was all just whatever the committee decided who was the top 4.
No.
And then they were forced to put in like an at-large as the 12 seed who was outside of a big conference.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I would agree. I mean, they're going to give a lot of weight towards conference champions in this, at least in determining the first 4 seeds. So
and they get buys.
So yeah. I mean, it's an interesting setup. It'll be
so if I'm Bama and I have 1 loss and it's in the SEC title game.
The best you can be is the 5
is
seed.
the 5th seed.
Correct.
And I'm behind like an FSU with like 3 or 4 losses.
Or perhaps a Utah.
Yeah.
Or whoever the Big 12 champion is, who we know isn't going to win the national title.
Correct.
So, but that's the 4. And again, this is just Bruce's projection, but he is going off of how it's going to look.
Right.
So he's not, this is how it's going to look. And I would agree with him. I would say, I'd probably say the SEC champion is going to be the 1 seed, but I won't quibble with Ohio State. Certainly they look like, they're going to have an outstanding team. So I can live with that.
Yeah, I saw Urban was yesterday on video was like, this is the best Ohio State I've ever seen. Like for every single position, the most stacked, the best athletes. So I know it's, early days to say something like that, but it means something, I guess, coming from Urban.
Well, and they spent tons of money. I mean, The Athletic did a story about this a couple months ago about their boosters, I think, just are absolutely
After seeing
livid.
Michigan win the national title, yeah.
That Michigan won it all. And so I think they are like, whatever it costs, here is a blank check.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the guys that they got like in the portal. They were able to keep a lot of their NFL talent in Columbus. They probably had 2 or 3 players that arguably could have been first-round picks that went back to school. So they got paid a lot of money to return and put off the NFL riches. We're not talking about guys that were like 3rd, 4th round projections. We're talking about prime draft prospects.
And I certainly think Michigan will take a little step back this year. I mean,
Right.
you can't lose Harbaugh, lose your quarterback, and expect to be the same team or as good. I don't see it. So, yeah, Ohio State coming out of the Big Ten, that's an easy pick for me.
Yeah, I would agree. And I don't have a problem with, like I said, I would probably have Georgia 1 because I'm not sure even with their hard schedule they're going to lose. But I can live with Ohio State 1. And I can live with Florida State being the 3. I would pick Florida State to win the ACC right now. So, again, we've talked about, does Florida State get in as the 8 seed? Well, if they win the ACC, I think they're going to be the 3, because my guess is their resume is going to be better than the Big 12 champion. So, at least in the committee's mind, I think the Big 12 champion, to not be the 4 seed, they're going to have to be almost undefeated, because there's just nobody of consequence in that league.
And even if they are undefeated,
power.
Even if it's an undefeated Big 12 team, if they haven't played anybody out of conference, I could still see them not being a top 2 seed.
That's what I think. I mean, so in this, I'm assuming Utah has at least one loss, but they're the 4. So this is where it gets really interesting. So let's move it beyond the top 4 to the matchups that Bruce Feldman has in the first round of the playoffs. These would be on-campus games.
Love that, by the way.
Yeah, it is going to be fantastic when we get to this. So the first game, the 8-9 game, Alabama at Notre Dame. Will that do good ratings, JJ?
I
in
think,
your opinion,
but probably not after the second quarter. I would expect Alabama to roll Notre Dame.
Yeah, although Notre Dame does seem like they've got a pretty good team, and I still don't know with Kalen DeBoer. I mean, it's hard for me to think they're going to lose Nick Saban, and it's just going to be
terrible,
all hunky dory.
Oh, you think? Okay, I agree, but I still think they have enough firepower, including Milroe coming back.
Yeah.
To beat a team like Notre Dame to get to the playoffs. Notre Dame is going to get in probably. We went through their schedule last week.
Yeah.
It's a complete joke.
It is a complete joke.
So yeah, I don't hate Notre Dame being in there, but I don't think they can hang with Alabama.
Okay, so we'll have Alabama advancing to face Ohio State. So the 12-5, the winner of this game will take on Utah.
I love that.
The 12 is Memphis, as you alluded to. So the non-Power 4 school, the best one of those, is going to be the 12. In this case, it's Memphis. Memphis at 5th-seeded Texas.
You got to go with the real school in that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Texas, then the 5 will move on to play the 4.
Quinn Ewers coming back. I expect Texas to be great. So how many teams out of the SEC do we have making the 12?
Well, right now I've given you 3.
Okay.
But we've got 2 more games to get through. So the next game, this is the 10-7. Again, this is Bruce Feldman's projection, and then we're sort of taking his projection, and JJ's giving you who he thinks is going to win the games from there. Bruce Feldman's projection for the 10 versus the 7. Penn State at Ole Miss.
Wow. Yeah, this is like this 12-team playoff really is going to help Penn State.
I think so, too.
A team that every single year can't beat the 2 big boys,
That's
but they're always third in the Big Ten. They're going to have like 10 wins almost every year. But when they get there, they're going to have to play a team from the South like this. So I would just, not knowing anything about Penn State's roster at all this year, I'd roll with Ole Miss.
Right. And
although I do think Ole Miss is getting way too much preseason hype.
I do too. But
people are drooling over them.
But I think you're right on both fronts here. This would be an intriguing game because you're right. Penn State, the 12-team playoff is perfect for.
Where is this? Where would this be?
This would be in Oxford.
Oh, yeah.
And so I agree with you in that Penn State's a big winner in this format change. But I also agree with you that Ole Miss, I think, if I had to pick a team that's preseason top 10 that I think is going to struggle, it would be, or at least not
to live
not to live up to the expectations. It would be Ole Miss.
I agree.
Okay, but for the purpose of this, you like Ole Miss to take down visiting Penn State.
As I say that, yes.
Okay, so that takes us to Ole Miss playing Georgia in what would be the quarters. So then the 11-6, I'm not going to ask you to recuse yourself from this because I think you're pretty objective when it comes to your team.
I'm a pessimist, if
anything. So the 11-6, the Miami Hurricanes as the 11, the last team in, because the 12 is always going to be the team no one cares about. So Miami,
unless we have like a Memphis who goes unbeaten and beats everybody by 50 and plays like Oklahoma out of conference or something, we're always going to have a 12 seed as that Cincinnati /
wake me when that scenario happens. So the 11 seed Miami Hurricanes travel across the country to play 6-seeded Oregon.
Oh, that
So
sounds like
Hays
our ACC game against
versus
flying
Ducks.
across country to play Cal.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe the men's tennis team can go. Oh, you guys aren't in the same league with them, but maybe the men's tennis team can break off on the layover and go play Cal Berkeley or something. But
So I would have Miami not in the playoffs. I'll preface it
Okay.
by saying I think Miami's going to lose like 3 or 4 games.
and Bruce Feldman loves the Canes.
He always loves
Yeah,
the Canes.
So I wasn't surprised that he
Yeah.
had Miami sneaking in here.
He's
And-
been a Miami guy for a while.
He has
He
been.
didn't go there or anything, but he
Yeah.
just always seems a little biased towards Miami, which I love.
right.
And he loves Mario.
And since it's something that I could see happening, because we've talked about Miami's schedule, like if they can go beat Florida in the Swamp in the opener, it really sets up well. Like they could even lose the Florida State
I was
game.
about to say, even if they do have 3 losses, maybe that's a stretch.
They'd probably need to go
2,
at least
they would
10
definitely
and 2.
get in.
But I would think 10 and 2.
You're a lock.
You would be in.
Yeah.
And so Miami, Oregon. So who are we going with there?
I love Oregon this year.
Okay.
I mean, they have 2 quarterbacks from the portal, competing. I love their head coach. Everything they did last year really impressed me, besides the losses against Washington. I think Oregon at home would destroy Miami.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
And
for me.
that's a crystal ball kind of revenge game.
But just getting to the
back
playoffs,
Oregon.
oh my God, that would be awesome for Mario.
No doubt about it. Okay, so our quarterfinals now, we've got Alabama versus Ohio State. That's a 9 versus a 1. We've got Texas versus Utah.
Juicy.
That's a 5 versus a 4. We've got Ole Miss versus Georgia. That's the 7 versus the 2. And we've got Oregon versus Florida State. That is a 6 versus a 3. So give us the winners. Let's start with Alabama, Ohio State. Now, I don't know the actual bowl this will be in, but now we're into the bowls. So these are neutral site games.
Right.
So
I would just roll with Alabama based
Wow.
on past record of slip-ups by Ohio State recently.
Tide.
Yeah, I also
Jalen
couldn't
DeBoer.
see them being the 9th seed. That just is insane to me.
Ryan Day, get that.
Oh.
Hot, can you go 12-0 and then
Get fired
and then
immediately.
get fired?
They
for-
would,
He'd
too.
be like the Marty Schottenheimer of
Now,
college
if it was
football.
against Bama, maybe not because it's Bama.
Okay.
But
you're
if
going
they
with Bama.
lose in the first round to like Oregon,
Yeah.
I could see him
could see it.
losing his job.
All right. Well, we've got Alabama in the upset, taking out the 1. I love it. Okay, so now let's go to the other quarterfinal in that bracket. That would be the 5th-seeded Texas Longhorns against the 4th-seeded Utah Utes.
I love Texas.
Love Texas,
Yeah,
though.
I love Quinn Ewers. I liked them a lot last year. I don't know if they're going to be as good, but against a team like Utah, I would love them to roll in that game.
Yeah, and you answered, before we continue, you asked how many SEC teams does Bruce Feldman have in, which was a great question. So he has 4. So 4 of the 12, he has a third of the field.
That's minimum what I would expect every single season.
I think they're going to get 4 every year.
Every year.
Every year. Barring something really surprising, I think they're going to get 4 every year. He's got the Big Ten with 3, Ohio State,
Sounds about right.
Oregon, and Penn State. And then he's got the ACC.
Oh, I forgot Oregon
Yeah.
was in the Big Ten.
Exactly. And then he's got 2 in the ACC, Florida State and Miami. You've got Notre Dame as an independent. You've got the Big 12 with just their champion in. And then you've got Memphis as the throwaway team.
So no Michigan.
Michigan is not in. Nope. Michigan's out. Tennessee's out. LSU's out. So in looking at it, and I do think he's right about that. I think that's going to be what it looks like most years. There could even be years where the Big Ten gets 4 too, and the ACC only gets its champion in.
Oh,
Like, that wouldn't surprise
like
me at
this year.
Yeah,
this
like-
upcoming season
Right.
could easily be that.
Yeah, I think so. And again, I think
Because I don't think Florida State's. I mean, I think Florida State's gonna maybe win the ACC, but with a couple losses, with a few losses, and I don't see like Clemson being so good that they're gonna have to like let them in, or Miami. So I could see just one ACC team getting in this season. That conference sucks, man.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Clemson because they are a notable absence too. So he does not have Clemson in the 12-team playoff, which I have to think would be a massive disappointment for Tigers fans and would, again, be another indication of, is the program slipping from excellence under Dabo Swinney?
I just don't love Klubnik.
Well, and look, if you're not going to embrace the portal at all, I mean, it's hard for me to pick you to do a whole lot. I mean,
at least bring a quarterback in.
Every other team does it. So it's just, to me, it's just preposterous. But that's a storyline for another day. Let's get back to
real quick. I hate the portal so much that I'm like cheering for Dabo to do good.
Right.
Because I want someone to be like, no, I hate it too, and I'm not going to use it, and I'm still going to win. But I think it's going to end terribly.
I'm glad you said that because I haven't heard anybody say that, and I think it's a great point. I am pulling for Clemson too. I think it would be fantastic if they can prove we don't need the
just
portal.
Like, hey, these are the guys I recruited.
Right.
I promised them a scholarship. That's how it is. But that's not how it works nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we're being naive to think. And it's not like we're expecting it, but am I pulling for it? Yeah, I think it'd be awesome if he was able to show everybody that, look, I can go undefeated. I don't need the portal. I just don't think that's going to happen. So we've got Alabama and Texas, a 9-seed tied and a 5th-seeded Longhorns.
Oh.
They'll meet in one semifinal, so one all-SEC semifinal. So that leads us to the bottom of the bracket. We've got 7th-seeded Ole Miss and another all-SEC game. 7th-seeded Ole Miss playing 2nd-seeded Georgia. Who do you like?
Oh, I love Georgia this year. They got the quarterback coming back. They just reload, it seems like, every season. I don't think they'll go through the regular season undefeated. But, yeah, when it comes to playoff time, I definitely expect them to knock off somebody like Ole Miss.
Okay, so we've got Alabama, Texas, and Georgia.
Oof.
We're looking for one more semifinalist. It's going to come from the 6 versus the 3, Oregon versus Florida State.
I like the Ducks, man. I think DJU's not great. I know he's been around. This is going to be school number 9 for him coming back from Florida State, so he's a veteran at this point. But I'm not impressed. I haven't been his entire career. I don't see him with a revamped Florida State being able to. I'm assuming that would be a home game, though. Or no, this would be a bowl game.
It would be
so neutral site.
Yeah, I would assume.
Then definitely not.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that leads us with Alabama and Texas in one semifinal. Who do you like in that game?
Texas.
Wow.
I think.
Sark.
Yeah, I think they
taking
have
the SEC by storm in year 1.
the better quarterback, coach returning.
Hey, they beat them last year in Tuscaloosa.
Absolutely, by multiple scores. Like, I know that the Alabama team was a little different at the end of the season than when they played Texas early on. But still, I like the Longhorns.
I think I would as well.
So what is this, Texas versus Georgia for the Natty?
Well, are you going Georgia over Oregon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Texas and Georgia actually. So this gets us to an important, a nuance of the new system. Because if Georgia beats Oregon, and I would agree with you, I think they would, then you potentially, and if Texas is the 5 and Georgia's the 2, what that would tell me is Georgia beat Texas in the SEC title game, and they play in the regular season. So this would lead us to something we've never seen in college football, which would be 2 programs meeting 3 times in the same season.
Right.
So this would be the 3rd game.
So they play in the regular season.
They play in the regular season. I'm almost 100% sure they play in the regular season because I think we looked at it because Texas doesn't have as hard an SEC schedule as you might think they would have in year 1, but they do play Georgia. Now, I think they host them.
It's in October. It's in Texas.
Yeah, I think Texas gets both Georgia and Florida in Austin. One of those games is significantly harder than the other, but I just thought I'd mention it. So
that would be super weird.
It would not be super.
And we're going to see it a lot probably. We're going to see it probably not every year, but every few years we'll get 3 matchups a season, especially in the out of the SEC.
Well, it makes me wonder, like if the rating. I think the ratings would be pretty strong, but you just don't know if there's going to be public appetite. In the out west and in the north and the Midwest
for the
to watch
3rd time in 2 months.
Game.
Yeah.
Right. So it does make me wonder if it doesn't do well, if Greg Sankey in the SEC, if they kind of say, we need to kind of sparse our heavyweight versus heavyweight games because they don't have a rotation yet. So it's basically just however they want to do it. So now they probably will come up with a rotation, and at that point you'll be kind of locked in.
There's so many heavyweights in the SEC. I don't even know how they do that.
Yeah,
though.
but Texas and Georgia are two that you'd have a pretty strong inclination, and they knew this. This schedule they just created 3 months ago. It's not like the schedule's been in place for years. So anyway, but it leads to Texas versus Georgia. So that would be the 5 seed versus the 2 seed for the national title, and you're going with Georgia?
Yeah, I
would too.
Although that matchup is sick. I would love to watch that game. This would be what? This is Texas's first national title appearance since
since Colt McCoy got
injury.
Hurt. Yeah,
oh my God. I was super excited to watch that game until the second drive.
Yeah, I think it was Marcel Darius that
was it?
Yeah, it was a legal hit, but I think it was Marcel Darius, future Jaguar.
I picked Texas to win that game. I lost a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Well done, JJ. And
I'm upset because I didn't realize that the top 4 seeds were all going to be conference champions. I don't know why that went past me.
Yeah, well, that's why when I saw this, I was like, we need to talk about this because, it really puts it in perspective of what it is really going to look like. And Bruce even says
for 2 years probably, and then everything will change.
Certainly they could expand it, but for now, this is what it could look like. Yeah. The Big 12 champion is probably going to be the 4 seed. The ACC champion probably going to be the 3 seed, and either the Big 10 or SEC champion is going to be 1 or 2, and you go from there. So again, that was a lot of fun. We appreciate Bruce Feldman's hard work in coming up with this projection and giving us a sense of what the college football playoff, the new 12-team format might look like.
I don't have a problem with them saying, hey, we won the ACC or we won the Big 12. They have to have a spot in there. But to say they have to have a top 4 spot in a bye, it's
ridiculous.
Grinds my gears.
Me too. I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, so it'll be it's still better than the 4-team, and I'm really excited. But again, I'm with you. I think we could end up seeing Texas versus Georgia 3 times this year, which would be really interesting to see how the public responds to that. We're not done talking college football on the Frangie Show. We're going to take this argument and kind of spin it a little forward because I want to get to the Gators, who obviously we're not going to be included in Bruce Feldman's projection here. But what do the Gators need to do to make the 12-team playoff? I have a map for Florida. I think they can get there at 9-3. I will lay it out for you next. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
You have heard about the 1010XL YouTube channel. Now check out our team-specific channels, 1010XL Jaguars, 1010XL Gators, and 1010XL Seminoles, bringing up specific, up-to-the-minute video coverage of your favorite local team. And find us on YouTube today.
Mia here, and I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. And it's all at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking over 600 vehicles in stock, 1 location. That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. Plus, now you get 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. And help from Arlington's Credit for Everyone program. Shop 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or arlingtontoyota.com.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold & Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold & Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Look, we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. You can dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. You've got to try the roulette. I'm not much of a card guy, but I love the roulette. It's so easy, it's so much fun, and I've really enjoyed it. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program, ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Don't miss out on the revamped MyBookie Casino. Use promo code 1010XL. You got to get that bonus. Promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Love the smell of golf balls in the mornings.
Summer smells delicious.
Brunch with the Tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Art of Natural Stone. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help with any plumbing or septic issue, just give us a call and relax. We'll send one of our first-round draft picks to get the job done right. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
There's certain places you know if you go in, they got what you're looking for, like Gate Convenience Stores and Cold Modelo's. That's the ticket. Or get on the craft side of things with something from Bold City or Sweetwater. Hit the cooler at Gate. Full of choices and all of them good.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction. Let's go! Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go!
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on the Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
JJ, you were just like on fire with the music this week. You really kind of have been for like months now. Is this just what we can expect, this level of excellence?
I have amazing taste.
You really do. Yeah. I hate to admit that, but you do. I've been very impressed.
Thank you.
Been very impressed. Welcome back to the Frangie Show.
Real quick, they used to play this song. I remember I always think of Cam Newton because, like, remember when he allegedly didn't take the $250,000 to go to Mississippi State?
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, when he played an away game there, they played this song, like, ad nauseum, like, every single time they went on the field.
You mean when they weren't ringing the
cowbell?
They played this? Yeah, that's funny. Welcome back to the Frangie Show. That's JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Frank Frangie is on vacation, but he will be back on Monday, and I've got to bring food in for Loser Monday for losing U.S. Open. So you and thanks, Victor Hovland. That was some nice golf, loser. And then I guess you're having to bring it in on Tuesday, huh,
or
JJ?
I think maybe we should do Friday or spread it out.
You spread it out? Okay. Well, I like to just pay mine off because it just hangs over me like an albatross. So I'm bringing mine in Monday.
Hovland today, 2 under, tied 41st at the Travelers. So
Boy,
it's been a struggle.
Well, I was gonna say, and I haven't looked at the updated leaderboard. I need to because it's
Tom Kim
we'll talk
went
about
off
it in
this
headlines.
morning,
But that's what I saw. Like Kim, and it's his birthday, which is kind of cool.
Him and Scheffler.
Yeah,
sharing a
Scheffler.
birthday.
Yep. And so we'll get you an update on what's going on at the Travelers in our next segment when we get to our headlines of the day. So we just have a few minutes here because we're going to do headlines in our next segment, and then Pete Prisco will join us right at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL, and he did a great job with his top 100. So we definitely want to spend a lot of time on that. So I'll just take a few minutes here, and JJ, stop me if when this gets to an incessant level of unreasonable expectation for Florida, and it's not my expectation, but just how kind of much of a fantasy land this path is, because I think with Florida's schedule, if they go 9-3, they will make the playoff. Now I forget
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah. Now forget whether you think they will go 9-3. Just for the argument, just assume they do. But it's got to be the right 9-3, and this is the right 9-3. First off, they have to go undefeated in the Swamp. That means beating Miami, Texas A&M, UCF, Kentucky, LSU, and Ole Miss. They've got to win every game at home. I just don't think the committee will take a 3-loss team that lost a game at home, even to a very good team. So I think it starts with you've got to win every game in Gainesville. They're going to have to beat Florida State and Tallahassee because you can't lose your last game can't be your third loss and get in. So I don't think. So they've a prerequisite to this.
They really
for Florida.
are like prisoners of the moment.
Yes.
When it comes to getting teams in.
Without a doubt. And that's even assuming that Florida State, let's assume they're the ACC front runner. I still think you can't lose in Tallahassee in the finale because, again, I don't expect Florida wouldn't play for the SEC title. It'd be their last game before the committee, weighed their case. I think they've got to win in Tallahassee. So that would give them 3 big wins heading into the committee making its final decision. They'd have wins over LSU, Ole Miss, and at Florida State. These are the games I think Florida can lose and still make the playoff. If it's only these 3, I think they can lose at Tennessee. I think they can lose to Georgia and Jacksonville, and I think they can lose the following week at Texas. That's the path for me that I think if Florida were to go 9-3 and all these things happened, I think Florida makes the playoff. What do you think, JJ?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tall task. And
Obviously.
also, they can't have, like, Miami having, like, 4 wins either. It has to
that's a good point.
Stick as a pretty good win. Tennessee has to be a pretty good win. You can't have LSU be terrible. But I don't think they will be. So even if Kentucky ends up sucking or UCF, that doesn't really matter. But as long as you have Miami looking decent, Tennessee and LSU, which I guess and Florida State, which those would be the big teams you would have beaten, then yeah. And so do you have them losing or beating Ole Miss?
I have that they have to win every game at home. So I've got them.
Okay,
I've got them beating Ole Miss at home. So in that 5-game stretch that we've talked a lot about, I have them in this to make the playoff. I think they could lose the first 2, but then they've got to win the final 3. And again, that's losing to Tennessee at Tennessee earlier in the year.
Yeah, if you beat LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State back to end the season with 9 wins,
right?
That would be criminal to not let them in.
Do you think they'd see? I kind of think they'd be in as the 11. Do you think they could even push into the top 10?
Oh
with that?
yeah, especially if I guess we're assuming there's going to be 3 or 4 Big Ten teams as well. So, yeah, I would just think that you're going to put them ahead of whoever would be the 4th or 3rd Big Ten team in. Yeah, it's hard to say without knowing who the other teams would be, but right. I would be shocked if they won all those games at the end, had 9 wins, and were still the 11th seed.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
who would they play in what's his name's thing?
If they were the 11, they would play the 6th seed, which is probably going to be either in my guess with Florida being an SEC squad, it would probably be a Big Ten school, probably like the 2nd or 3rd best team in the Big Ten. On the road. They would go on the road in the first round.
Have to play like Oregon.
That's what I would think.
That'd be tough.
Oh yeah. But I mean, if you're a Florida fan, wouldn't you have to sign up for that right now?
Yeah, but getting killed in the first round.
If somebody told you right now you're going to make the playoff as an 11 and then Oregon's going to beat you by 35,
I love that.
I think you'd have to take it.
As a Cane, I would love
that.
But
I mean, as a Florida fan, wouldn't you have to take that?
Yeah.
I mean, then Billy Napier's on solid footing moving forward, and I mean, I think it'd be an extraordinary season if that were to happen again. Will it? Probably not. But it's interesting just to start looking at what might have to happen for Florida to have a strong case to make the playoffs. So good stuff. It's been fun talking college football. Obviously, we'll talk a ton of college football when Frank gets back next week. We are going to do our headlines. That is next. You're listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Wonder what Dan Hicken would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
He's the hottest young rookie in NASCAR history and has won an unprecedented 5 out of his last 6 races.
Dan Hicken.
I can get used to this winning thing!
Mornings on 1010XL.
Every season is Chevy truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet, and there's no better time to do what you do best than a Chevy Silverado. Now at Nimnick, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado, or well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. And with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. It all starts with a Chevy truck. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar on your trade. So shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership located at the corner of Park Street and Cassett. You want a great truck? Then you want a Silverado from Nimnick. That's Nimnick Chevrolet. Visit them today. Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue at Park. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. At Showtime, we have over 20 display cases separating NFL cards, Jaguars, baseball, basketball, hockey, pop culture, and even pro wrestling. Oh, and Pokemon. It's easy to pop in and peruse before an appointment or meeting. Shad Road and Phillips Highway. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Frank Frangie here. Bono's Pit Barbecue is celebrating 75 years of serving up legendary barbecue on the First Coast. And right now, get to Bono's for the new loaded barbecue tater tots. That's smoked pulled pork on top of tater tots with melted cheddar cheese sauce. You won't find this anywhere else. 18 Bono's around town. There's always one nearby, and you can see all the locations at bonosbarbecue.com. Remember, the Bono's Barbecue Tater Tots right now at Bono's. And if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics, and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard?
Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Share your voice anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Are you serious? Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
If you can't call or email, text us. 641-1010.
Spring has sprung. What a great time to get your house ready forever. Stop paying for exterior paint that doesn't protect your home or business. Rhino Shield's beautiful durable coating never chip, crack, or peel. By the way, they back it up with a 25-year warranty. No mold, no mildew, no algae, all while saving you thousands compared to the cost of repainting it. Right now, 0% financing, up to 25% off. Never been easier to paint your home with Rhino Shield. Book your free estimate today at rhinoshieldjacks.com.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Sports fans, JJ LaSelva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Hume Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Hume Flowers.
This is Hays Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. JJ LaSelva, I am Hays Carlyon. Frank Frangie is on vacation. He will be back on Monday. We appreciate our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured or a loved one, you need to give them a call at 251-1111. You will be in great hands with my buddy Holt Harrell. JJ, we're going to start with college football today. Oklahoma extended coach Brent Venables 6 years, $51 million. Do you like that deal?
I was surprised because it's been not exactly great since he got there.
I think he's 16 and 10.
Okay, so last year was a lot better, but his first year was sort of, But yeah, to just give a guy an extension that quickly, it baffled me, but whatever. The money for coaches right now in college football is something I'll never understand.
And it's not an extraordinary figure per year, so I think that...
Maybe they're like, this won't cost us too much.
Yeah, I think that kind of helps. I do commend them for this. I think it's good as they go into the SEC for the coach to have the stability of, look, we understand there could be some growing pains here, so we're going to stick with you. We don't want you worrying about your job while you're trying to get acclimated to the toughest league in the country.
Absolutely.
So I was surprised, but I think it's a savvy move for Oklahoma. I don't know how good Venables will be, but I think it's a smart way to create a strong sense of stability.
I loved him at Clemson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was sensational as a defensive coordinator, no doubt about it. We talked about Bruce Feldman earlier. He also has a really good feature on Florida defensive lineman Joey Slackman. So Slackman has such a unique story. He's an Ivy League player, transferred to Florida this offseason, was a big get. There were a lot of schools that wanted him. And the feature talks about how tough he is and things like that. But boy, he's got a crazy injury history. He's like played through a torn bicep. He's torn both pecs. He's blown out a knee. So like he could be a really high impact player for the Gators this year. But obviously durability has been a big issue. But it's a really interesting story. I would encourage you guys to go read it, particularly if you're Florida fans, because he basically was getting surgery done and put his name in the portal. And again, in the Ivy League, his parents have no idea the rabidness of college football fans and just programs in general. So he comes out of the surgery and his dad's like, "You're not going to believe this. We've heard from like 50 schools in the last 2 hours." So it was
while you were under.
Yeah, it was incredible. But
what position does he play?
He's like a defensive tackle, but he used to be a wrestler, so he's got outstanding leverage and hand technique and placement. So it again, if he can stay healthy, it could really help Florida's defense, which has been miserable. But with that amount of an injury history, I think you worry about that. The program did tweet out. They do this thing where they like tweet out their workout warriors of the week or leadership guys, and they recognized Slackman today in one of those things the Gators did on their social media. So that was interesting. Getting it to the NBA, the Celtics had their championship parade today. JJ, what stood out to you?
Al Horford's T-shirt was phenomenal. So if you remember during the Bucks parade, it was like a boat parade, Brady got super lit. Mm-hmm. And there's a famous photo of him like being guided by a teammate or friend or somebody,
like
a
backup quarterback.
Okay, through the door, like through these doors, and he just looks like a drunk, giddy teenager with like his hat backwards, and that is on his T-shirt, and I absolutely love it. One quick thing about the parades in Boston. So I was up there about a year or so ago for vacation, and I was at this hole-in-the-wall bar. And outside on the brick out front, they have the hours. And they're not just like posted on an electric sign, okay? They're painted on the brick. The hours, the days that they're open, whatever. So it's Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then at the bottom, in paint, it says parade day hours. So they're
That's
just
awesome.
like so used to winning everything there and having parades all the time that it's just, these are our hours when we have our championship parades. Yeah. Like that is so, oh my God.
Hey,
for a city that used to be known as being like kind of the loser place when I was growing up. This was after the Celtics had their run,
right,
before the Patriots run, during the Red Sox huge drought. Like, seeing that now was crazy to me. Just remembering growing up how that seemed impossible.
It really is. The Patriots were the real surprise because the football team had never really done anything.
Yeah,
until,
but I mean the Red
Belichick.
Sox are a pretty big surprise.
Good point. Good point as well.
And they came back from 3-0. Like that whole 2004 was epic. But yeah,
no doubt about it. Getting it to the PGA Tour, Tom Kim leads at 13 under at the Travelers. Morikawa is at 11 under. Both Kim and Morikawa are done for the day. Xander Schauffele, the PGA champion, is at 10 under. He is done for the day. Scotty Scheffler is also at 10 under. He has a couple of holes left. And also, happy birthday to Scotty Scheffler today. The two-time defending Players champion turns 28.
And Tom Kim turns 22.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which we were talking about earlier this week with Matt Adams from the Golf Channel. Like, who's the next guy who hasn't won a major? Who's the best one? He said Oberg. People say Hovland. Tom Kim's got to be up there. I mean, he's a lot younger than some of these dudes, but he's an absolute beast. This weekend will be fun to see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's an elevated event, so you've got
$20 million purse.
You've got a great field, and if you're looking for something to watch this weekend, the Travelers is a good bet. The Stanley Cup Final resumes tonight, JJ. Game 6. The Panthers are up 3-2, but they have lost the last 2 games.
Wow.
And they are back in Edmonton, so we'll see.
I would love to see a team blow a 3-0 lead.
Can you imagine it?
I would hate for it to be Prisco's team.
I know, and my Jeans team would be that would be bad for me if that happens. So hopefully Florida will get it done tonight, and we will not have to worry about that. But yeah, it's if you're looking again for high intensity, watching tonight, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final will certainly be that, because Edmonton has taken total control of the series, but they're down 3-2, so we'll see. The 1010XL newsletter is out. Subscribe at 1010XL.com and enter for a chance to win Jags tickets. There's also free baseball games. Walk-Off Charities has those at the Bragan Baseball Complex at Fort Family Park every day, so check the schedule. But again, they have a game there every day. I think maybe tonight it's at 6, and then maybe when I looked, I think tomorrow it might be an afternoon game at 3. But baseball every day there. It's free. They've got wonderful concessions, so go check it out. It's a great location, 9B between Gate Parkway and Bay Meadows. So if you want to go take the kids, do something fun, and you can't beat the price. So free baseball, go check it out. Getting it to pop culture, JJ. Kevin Costner confirms he will not be returning to Yellowstone.
Yeah, this was he had said it before, but I guess people were still holding out hope that contractually they would get things taken care of. But that sucks for anyone who's into that show. It lasted so long. I heard they were going to he was going to come back and film a few scenes to end his character.
Yeah.
I guess to kill off his character. But yeah, that's what happens with these long shows. I mean, it's almost impossible to end these in a good way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. On this date, we love our flashbacks around here. Batman Returns premiered in theaters 32 years ago, back in 1992. This is the one, I always have to say, go by the villain. So it's Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. It's the hottest movie character of all time. And then, yes, it's got the Penguin.
Is the Penguin.
It is.
I have seen this
It's
one.
two villain. Danny DeVito plays the Penguin. And so this was Tim Burton, who did the original Batman in '89. He came back reluctantly to do Batman Returns. And I love Batman Returns. I think it's a fantastic sequel to it. It wasn't as commercially successful as the Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. It earned $267 million worldwide, but far less than Batman's $412 million. And that was it. Then Tim Burton didn't do any more of the Batmans, and it became more.
So the next one was
Val Kilmer as Batman Forever, which had Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
And then
Nicole
we had
Kidman was the love interest.
The George Clooney.
And then you had the Abomination
Okay.
that is Batman and Robin. And then it was dead for 8 years, and then Christopher Nolan produced one of the best trilogies, I think, in film history.
Yeah, I forget about the DeVito Penguin one.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Batman Returns and you like Batman, again, it's 32 years old, but it holds up really well, and Tim Burton has such a cool style. So anyway, give it a look. We will get you out for the weekend on this musical note. Fleetwood Mac's Dreams topped the Billboard 100 this week back in 1977. Written by Stevie Nicks, Rolling Stone ranked it as the 9th greatest song of all time back in 2021. One of my favorites. Fleetwood Mac's Dreams. That is going to send us to break. We will have Pete Prisco on the other side talking all things Jaguars and the NFL. You are listening to The Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for QC Kinetics. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? This is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Well, don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. Give them a call for a free consultation at 904-274-5522. They can get you in this week. They've got 2 great locations in town, Mandarin and in Ponte Vedra Beach. They've got availability. Again, 904-274-5522. 5522. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Give them a call at 904-274-5522 and go see them for a free consultation either in Mandarin or Ponte Vedra Beach. That's QC Kinetics.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
The offensive line developing into a good one, and Tony Baselli, a star. He is imposing. Coleman, Wydell, Tilsky, Searcy, who was in the Super Bowl with the Steelers last year.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need any special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go! The restaurant of the day is Flame Broiler. Try the happy hour special, a mini chicken bowl with a drink for just $6.45. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or check out one of 5 locations across town. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Trevor Lawrence still had 1 year to be played out on his rookie contract before signing his new 5-year, $275 million contract to stay in Jacksonville. Lawrence is excited that a deal was able to be made, and now he can keep his focus on bringing home a championship to Duval.
It's a huge blessing. We're excited, but to have it done and kind of behind us to where you can just move forward and go play and get ready for training camp instead of, thinking, in the back of your mind that it didn't get done. And, I guess that season, obviously every season's big, but I think it feels good to know, like I said, I'm going to be here and have that stability. But yeah, it doesn't really change too much, but it does feel good to have it done. That was a goal that the team and myself and my team wanted to get done, is to have it, finished by the time training camp came around, so we could just, put everything towards this year and get ready to go bring a championship here.
It's 86 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. I am Hays Carlyon with JJ LaSelva. Frank Frangie is on vacation. He will be back on Monday. We are efforting to get Pete Prisco. I really enjoyed going through Pete's top 100 because he does such a great job, and we always enjoy talking to him every Friday. And it was interesting going through it because I took the time to sort of go and see how many teams had what representation. It was really interesting looking at the AFC South because Pete had the Jaguars had 2. We'll start there. Josh Allen at 23. That was the highest ranked player in the division. So Pete has Josh Allen as the best player in the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence was 62nd. So 2 for the Jags, which really didn't rank them all that high. There were 17 teams in the league that had more than 2. But again, this gets us to the point we've been making all week, which is they don't have a lot of superstar talent, but they've got a pretty good roster when you go, I think actually really good roster when you go 1 through 25. Houston had great representation on this list. Danielle Hunter, 35th, Stroud, 38, Tunzel, 57, Nico Collins, 77, Derek Stingley, 80, and then Will Anderson, 99. So the Texans really came in well on Pete's list. They've got 6 players, which is tied with Dallas and Philadelphia, and for 5th. San Francisco led the way with 9. I mean, it's just and they had like 7 in like the first 30. I mean, it was unbelievable how front-loaded the 49ers roster is, how elite it is. So San Francisco had 9, Kansas City, Detroit, and Baltimore had 7, and then you got down to the Dallas, Philadelphia, and Houston trio with 6. So obviously Pete believes that the Texans have a big gap in terms of the really elite talent in the AFC South. I was surprised by the next 2. The Titans and the Colts. I was surprised the Titans have 2, Snead and Simmons, 2 defensive players, Snead at 51 and Simmons at 95. And then the Colts didn't have anybody, which kind of surprised me. I bet you if you did a top 200, and again, we'll ask Pete this when he joins us. I'm sure he's getting ready for the Panthers game, and hopefully he can put down the libation to join us, for our segment here, but nothing for the Colts. So that was a little bit of a surprise. But I am curious to see and ask Pete if what he thinks of their roster in general, because we had Ryan O'Halloran on yesterday, the columnist for the Buffalo News, who obviously we know from his days with the Times-Union did a great job covering the Jaguars, and he thinks the Colts are actually going to finish ahead of the Jaguars and finish second in the division behind Houston. Which I don't agree with, but again, it speaks to how I think everybody's going to pick Houston to win the South. I think you're almost going to, if you see somebody who doesn't pick Houston to win the South that isn't from Jacksonville, then it will almost be that, well, I just want to do something different. I want to go against the grain. But I think 95% of the projections that you see around the nation, they're going to have the Houston Texans winning the AFC South again. What gets interesting is who is second, who is third, and who was 4th. In my opinion, the gap between the Texans and Jaguars is not all that vast. I mean, the Jaguars, they both won in each other's buildings last year, and I think the Jaguars are better than they were last year, but the Texans can argue that too. They've added Stephon Diggs, who didn't even make this list, and Danielle Hunter. So obviously they've had an incredible offseason as well. We'll see. I think the Colts, and part of this is just because I just do not have any faith that Anthony Richardson is going to stay healthy, and I'm not sure he's going to be all that good from a winning games in this league standpoint. I could see him being a great fantasy player, somebody who goes and runs for 11 touchdowns and 600 yards, and I understand in the scoring, that would be fantastic, but will that lead to wins on the field for the Colts? And Shane Steichen, did a great job in his first year. But now, the thing about DeMeco Ryans and Shane Steichen is you're not really sneaking up on anybody this year, particularly the Texans. But even the Colts, like offensively now, everybody's going to have a really good sense of what Shane Steichen likes to do. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if the Colts, again, they did a great job, but I think Gardner Minshew is better than Joe Flacco. And so, Minshew was able to go in and really keep them in the playoff hunt up until the final week. Remember, they were driving to beat the Texans, and Minshew kind of, threw an average ball to a running back out of the backfield on critical fourth down. They didn't get it, and that ended their season. But, they were certainly close. So, it's in looking at it, I don't think it's that far apart. And it's interesting to look at the teams that Pete has the greatest representation of, particularly when you look in the AFC. It's tied. We always think the Chiefs are, maybe not substantially, but certainly ahead of everybody else. Well, he's got the Chiefs with 7 guys. Now, obviously, they have number 1. They have Patrick Mahomes. So obviously he's a nuclear weapon. But they've got Pete has the Chiefs with 7 guys. He has the Ravens also with 7 players. And, they've got the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson. So what do you think about that, JJ? Do you see a big gap between the Chiefs and everybody else? Or do you think in terms of star-level talent, the gap isn't that wide?
I think it's huge. I mean, how often do you see teams have like you don't see a quarterback at this level ever? Even when Brady was the best quarterback in the league, it seemed like Peyton was right behind him. Some years I even think Peyton was better than him, whatever. But this is like, I wouldn't even say the Chiefs are a level above everybody else, but it's Patrick Mahomes. He's just so much better than all the other quarterbacks in the league. So, yeah, I do put them on a plane above everybody else.
Yeah, it's just hard not to. I mean, that's the thing. It's like they also have, I don't think the Chiefs get enough credit for this, because I think Mahomes, it's almost like, well, they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is so great. The Chiefs have also done a great job of developing that winning DNA where they just believe.
And whoever comes there
in the final 4 minutes that they're going to pull it out.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily because of Mahomes. I mean, defensively, it's incredible what they've done. I mean, in his MVP year, when he first, became the starter, their defense was a sieve. I mean, it was awful. And they really have done a magnificent job in it, and it's really not with a lot of premium draft capital. I mean, they've done a great job of guys in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round coming in and stepping into great roles. So
that's the thing that I was going to say. Like you said, that winning mentality. It's like the Patriots. Whenever a guy would go there, doesn't matter what his career was, he would just get good. He would become a useful player for the Patriots, and it's the same thing here. You could almost plug in anybody. That's why I don't worry when they're like, oh, they lost Tyreek, and look at the receiving core, and who are these guys? It doesn't matter. We saw that in the Super Bowl. They could bring a guy in. What's the guy from Florida? Who was just a disaster.
Tony.
Yeah, they didn't even dress for the Super Bowl. But
and then did you see him at the at the ring ceremony earlier this week? He's like, yeah, I mean,
I got to pull that up.
It stuns me sometimes, the audacity of these athletes, because if I was Kadarius Toney,
I'd be embarrassed.
I wouldn't even accept the ring, or if I did accept the ring, I wouldn't go to. And I guess he's still under contract there, so maybe he doesn't have a choice. But it'd be hard to sit there and enjoy the celebration, knowing that you were more of a negative than a positive for the team.
They literally didn't dress you because they were worried that you might do something. But I guarantee Hollywood Brown is going to be awesome there.
Oh, no doubt about it.
A guy whose career is done. He's done nothing. This will already be his 3rd team, I believe, maybe even more. But I guarantee he's going to go there and he's going to be fine. He's going to have, 600, 700 yards, a handful of touchdowns, and we're going to be like, damn, Pat did it again.
Again, we're talking about Pete Prisco of CBS Sports, his top 100 list that he put out a couple days ago. So I'm in agreement with you. I think the Chiefs, because of Mahomes, because of Andy Reid, because of the fact that they just expect to win, I think that they're going to be awfully tough to unseat. But certainly there's a lot of legitimate contenders. And again, looking off of Pete's list, 7 Ravens in the top 100, obviously led by Lamar Jackson at quarterback. What do you think of the Ravens this season?
I think they'll probably be good in the regular season again. I don't have them winning that division. I love Cincinnati. I think as long as Joe Burrow is standing on 2 feet, they'll win. But that's a big if. I like Lamar as a regular season quarterback, but the second we get into the playoffs, he's a nobody to me. Like they're not going to win the AFC. Would they get to the AFC title game last year and just laid an egg
in their house?
Yeah, I like them to make the playoffs. It's probably a wild card team, but nothing more. I think they're on they could be on a little bit above the Jags, but basically when it gets to the playoffs, I think they're on the Jags level.
Does it surprise you that he thinks that he's got 6 Texans in the top 100? This isn't necessarily Pete saying, I think these are the best teams. But again, it's not hard to draw a straight line from one point to the other. If you've got 6 guys in the top 100 in the NFL, stands to reason that Pete thinks you're going to have a really good team. But I was surprised that the Texans had 6 guys.
Yeah, 6 seems like a lot.
And going through it again, it's Danielle Hunter. I don't have a problem with that. He's got to be in there.
No, 35.
CJ Stroud. I certainly don't have a problem with that. Laramie Tunsil's one of the best left tackles in the game. Don't have a problem with that. Nico Collins had a great season. I don't know that I'd have him in the top 100, but I can certainly listen to the argument. Stingley is a great up-and-coming corner, and Will Anderson at 99 certainly had an outstanding rookie season. So it feels like they shouldn't have 6.
And even if you don't have Nico on there, they have a potentially better wide receiver who's actually not on the list.
That's a great point. And maybe Tank Dell in year 2 becomes, something even more spectacular than what he showed prior to his injury. So, yeah, it's just interesting in looking at it and going through some of the teams that didn't really have that much representation. Like Cleveland only has 1 player. It's Myles Garrett, and he's number 2. But that's kind of surprising because I think Cleveland's got a really good roster. But again, it just speaks to there's 32 teams. There's only 100 players being mentioned here. So, players 101 through 200 are outstanding players as well. But I was surprised that Cleveland only had Myles Garrett.
Maybe Njoku deserved, I don't know how many tight ends you'd put up there.
Yeah.
But he was a monster last season.
Yeah,
he destroyed the Jags.
Oh, yeah. Well, they forgot to cover
in that game. Yeah. You don't often see a
4th and 1,
tight end running
and David
wide open.
Njoku is waving his arms in the air at the 20-yard line.
Like a 6'3", 250 guy.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. Again, we talked about that Tennessee having 2, same as the Jaguars, and the Colts having none. But the Dolphins have 5. Which I think's about right because you've got Tua. Tyreek's their highest ranked guy, but then you've
Can't
got
argue with that.
Waddle and Jalen is still there. So that makes sense. The Steelers had 3, so more than the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars have a better overall roster. And again, this speaks in our next segment. We'll talk about finishing out our top 25 Jaguar players, and again, I think it'll sort of illuminate that. As we go through it. Cincinnati only had 3. Does that surprise? I mean, obviously Burrow, Chase, and Hendrickson was the 3rd.
Oh, so not the other receiver.
Yeah, Higgins didn't make it.
Higgins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would have Higgins over somebody like.
I'd rather have
you
Higgins
look at the
than
back
Collins.
of the list. Yeah, absolutely. I think he's the last wide receiver on there. Mike Evans is still on there, 88. I wouldn't take him off. Every time I count Mike Evans out, like I've said, he's washed going into the season for like the last 4 years, and he was phenomenal last year.
He really was. It's interesting if you look at the state teams. I'm glad you brought up Tampa.
Puka made it, by the way. 66 for Puka Nacua.
Yeah, and he was the only Ram, which I thought was interesting. But I'm glad you brought up Tampa Bay because we haven't gotten to the NFC yet at all. And if you look at the teams in state, Miami has 5, Tampa Bay has 4, and again, the Jaguars just with 2. But I think you could easily make a case that the Jaguars are going to have the best season of those 3.
Yeah, Miami, they sort of play in a crappy division, though.
The Dolphins, you think, too? See, other than the 2 New England games, I think 2 against the Jets and 2 against the Bills.
Oh, yeah,
is
the
tough.
Jets, I'm forgetting about Aaron Rodgers being back.
Yeah, the Jets, by the way, had 4. Vegas had 3. Again, Max Crosby led the way, and then Devontae Adams was on there as well. But that was interesting to me that Vegas had 3. again, and just kind of going through the AFC, the Bills only had one, Josh Allen, who's obviously a superstar. But are you surprised Buffalo only has one?
I'm trying to think of who I would potentially put on that list.
I think the tight end Dalton Kincaid is on when Pete does this next year. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be
maybe
in like
Milano.
the top 70.
Yeah.
But
Matt Milano maybe.
Yeah, it could be. That's a good call. And then trying to see if there's the Chargers had 3, which makes sense. Herbert, Slater, and I think Khalil Mack were their 3. So that makes sense. And then looking at the NFC. San Francisco having 9, and I'm not kidding you, as I was going through it, they had like their 7th guy. I don't have the list right in front of me, but they had their 7th guy, I want to say by the time I got into like 35 or something. I mean, it is loaded.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk's 45, which, by the way, we haven't talked about that today. It looks like they're going to get a deal done.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, San Francisco 49ers are keen on retaining Brandon Ayuk, but are hesitant about meeting his desired contract terms. Despite this, there is a consensus among various sources, including Adam Schefter, that the Niners are not interested in trading him and are aiming to keep him for the 2024 season. That's after we just heard him on social media saying, they don't want me, bro.
That is really peculiar. But I mean, I would keep Ayuk and get rid of Deebo Samuel, who's been fantastic.
They got Ricky Pearsall, right?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
And they just signed him. So, he's the next Puka Nacua, right? I mean, but yeah.
I think Pearsall is going to be awesome, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's
I
interesting.
loved him at UF.
I mean, he certainly had a great career with Florida in those 2 years.
First round? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I agree with you. I think he'll be above average. I don't know that I see a star, but I will say, like, when a certain team picks a player, you just give them more credibility.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, if the 49ers thought this is a guy we're taking this high, I get everybody makes mistakes. It's like, well, they took Trey Lance. Okay, yeah, I get everybody makes mistakes. No one bats even 600 in this league. If you're batting 400 in this league, you're probably going to the playoffs every year in terms of your big decisions. And so it just, it does make you wonder if Pearsall is going to be in an unbelievable environment there in San Francisco.
It's like, who's the kid from Texas, Worthy?
Yes.
Who people are like, that's too high to take him. But it's like, he went to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
he's going to be awesome.
Right. You're going to argue with Andy Reid calling plays for him and Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. I mean, that seems pretty advantageous for him. But you mentioned Tampa Bay in the NFC. So we talked about San Francisco at 9. Detroit was 7. Detroit is coming because, I mean, you look at their 7 and it's legit.
Left tackle, their best.
Hutchinson, Goff's on it, Laporta's on it.
All the important positions,
Yes.
Your number 1 wide receiver, quarterback, left tackle, number 1 pass rusher. They have a great core. Laporta even.
Yes. And, again, that is an argument I will make in favor of the Jaguars and Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson, because when you look, they're not obviously getting the hype of the Lions here. Again, they only had 2 players on this list. But as you look at the build moving forward, okay, this offseason you secured Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. So you secured your franchise quarterback and your best defensive player, who plays obviously a very premium position. We talked about next year. Trayvon Walker is going to be eligible. Assuming he has a big year, which I expect, Trent Baalke is going to race to do that extension because he took so much criticism for making the pick. So if Trayvon Walker has 13.5 sacks, you can count on Trayvon Walker being the top paid defensive player in this league if he has a huge year. I mean, Trent Baalke is drooling at the chance to give him that contract and take the victory.
Say I told you so.
Yes. And so... But and I'm not saying that's a bad move. I think Trayvon Walker is going to be an exceptional player. I think he's just getting warmed up. But look at what that is. So that's your quarterback, 2 outstanding edge rushers. I think there's a chance they're going to get the deal done with Tyson Campbell, who I think is a good young corner. So that is another premier position. You've locked up a corner. And then the year after that, so Campbell may get done this year. So really the order is Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Tyson Campbell, perhaps. Trayvon Walker, I would say, after next season when he becomes eligible, like Trevor this offseason. And then the year after that, if Anton Harrison continues to play well, he has to do it 2 more years. I understand that. He's only been in the league for 1. But then Anton Harrison gets signed, which, whether he's your left or right tackle, premier position in the way football is played now. So Detroit's done a magnificent job building it, no doubt about it. But if you look at the Jaguars, you've got to be excited about the fact that you've got quarterback, probably going to be 2 elite pass rushers, probably a very good to elite corner, and what looks to be potentially a very good to elite offensive tackle. That's pretty good. There aren't going to be a lot of teams in this league that can say that at those premier spots where football games are won and lost, that they've got a better core than what the Jaguars have. So it's exciting times. I'm sorry Pete couldn't join us. Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles sponsors that, and they do such a fantastic job. They're the best in vintage cards as well as unbelievable autographed items. I love taking my son Jackson in there. We always have a great time. Head to Showtime at the corner of Phillips and Shad Road and find Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We are going to come back as we continue this Frangie Show on a Friday. We are going to talk a little bit more about this Jaguars roster. We're going to complete our series, the Jaguars top 25 players. We will do that next. You're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Jags. Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. One-on-one interviews with players, practice footage, podcasts, and more. If you're looking for the best Big Cat coverage around, look no further. 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Every day is a Big Chief Tire Day at 1010XL. Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Our friends at Big Chief Tire are all about ensuring your safety and peace of mind on the road. Right now, they're offering $50 off a new set of tires so you can finally take care of that tire replacement you have been putting off. Plus, enjoy free tire repairs and replacements for up to 3 years with their protection plan. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at any one of their 5 locations. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. If you're a business owner that uses tons of fuel, you need B&B. If you're in charge of a job site that uses tons of fuel, once again, you need B&B. B&B Oil and Fuel has the fuel you need and will deliver straight to your site or office. Top-notch products and service delivered with B&B Oil and Fuel. Job sites, boats, generators, nothing but the best fuel with B&B Oil and Fuel. Online at bb-oil.com. Only the best with B&B Oil and Fuel.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Quarterbacking can be complicated. Denny Thompson simplifies it for us.
Yeah, I want to tell you what's really happening at the quarterback position.
Friday mornings on The Drill, brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Living on Amelia Island? Having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Look, we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. I love the live casino. The roulette is awesome. It's so easy and so much fun. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. So sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Spring is here, and along with it comes the best golfing days of the year. Come out to Hidden Hills and test out our Arnold Palmer signature masterpiece and enjoy the popular Hills Grill after your round. Book your tee time today, hiddenhillsgc.com.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems? Gun charges? Drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
All right, our weekend is almost here. JJ, you got any fun plans?
I'm going home. We're going to Ocala for a bit, but no, nothing exciting.
Yeah?
Not much on the schedule.
Just chilling?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Welcome back to The Frangie Show. That's JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Frank Frangie is on vacation. He will be back on Monday. Look forward to seeing Frank and hearing all about his trip. So, JJ, have I moved you at all? When we started doing this Jags Top 25, and we've done 5 a day, we started this back on Monday. Have I moved you at all on this roster? Did you like the roster beforehand? Kind of give me kind of where you are with this as we've completed 4 days and we're heading into our final one.
I think it's like top 3/3 of the league tier when it comes to the roster. Probably closer to like the middle one, middle tier than the top. But yeah, I think that it's a lot deeper than you'd think. When I just thought, like, these are the guys they lost in free agency. These are the guys they're bringing back, the rookies, when you take all that into account. And we haven't even really named any of the rookies on this list.
Correct. I didn't want them to be included because we just don't know. We're excited about the group. But as we all know, even the first-round picks, only about 40% of them actually materialize.
And in the first year,
anything.
Almost none
Correct.
of them do anything.
It's very difficult. So, yeah, it'd be great if Brian Thomas has a huge year or Mason Smith, gives them, some huge plays. But obviously, Jarian Jones, we believe is going to have an outstanding chance to win the corner job opposite Tyson Campbell and maybe push Savage at nickel. we'll see. So, but I didn't want any of them included because we just don't know. It's just too much of an unknown with those guys. But as we go through it, and I think where you place them is right. I mean, that's what their record would tell us, is that they've been a 9-8 team, which means that they're above average. They're just right there. So yeah, that's where you have their roster is indicative of how they have finished. Again, we will see if that changes this year, but the expectations are going to be, wouldn't you guess that most people are going to pick them somewhere between 8 and 10 wins nationally?
The Jags?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say too many people will go below that.
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, here we're going to hear a lot of 11.
Well, yeah, but I don't think nationally you're going to see a lot of 12 and 5s.
Hell no.
Yeah, so I'd be surprised if you see a lot of 11 and 6s. But again, we'll see. So again, I know it's tough. You're listening out there and you're not writing this down and things like that. But I do want to give you the 20 that we've mentioned, just so you have an idea as we go through it. So you're not sitting there like, well, what about this guy? So the top 20 were Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, Etienne, Ingram, Trayvon, Tyson Campbell, Foye, Armstead, Gabe Davis, Robertson Harris, Devon Hamilton, Cam Robinson, Anton Harrison, Brandon Sheriff, Mitch Morse, Devin Lloyd, Cisco, Savage, Logan Cook. So here we go. So at 21, I've got Ronald Darby, who has played a lot of football. He's another one of these new additions that you're hoping has one more year left. The Ravens certainly seemed to appreciate what he gave them last year, but my hope is that Jarian Jones beats him out. So I've got Darby 21st. Again, these are your weak links. If you're not in the top 20, and I'll listen to any sort of argument, but if you're not in the top 20, you are basically considered a weak link on an NFL team. So I've got Ronald Darby 21st. I've got Ezra Cleveland, the left guard, 22nd, who I do think really, I don't think people appreciate the difficulty of what he went through last year. He's hurt. He then gets traded at the deadline. Has to learn a totally new offense, a totally new team, learn his teammates, and he's not healthy. Comes in, plays, kind of gets hurt again. I just don't think we've seen even remotely close to what Ezra Cleveland will be here. But it's hard to have him any higher. So he is somebody that I think does have some upside here. And he's still a relatively young player. He's not of the age of Morris and Sheriff. Ezra Cleveland's like in his mid-20s. So I've got Cleveland 22nd. Number 23 is a guy that could make a gigantic leap on this list when we do it again next summer. Antonio Johnson, the safety. I've got 23rd. When they signed Darnell Savage, I thought, okay, they're not ready to promote in-house Antonio Johnson to replace Rayshon Jenkins. So the safeties are going to be Savage and Cisco, and Antonio Johnson will be a special teams player and a reserve. Well, that's not the case. I mean, they have made it very clear that they believe Savage is the nickel going into training camp, and Antonio Johnson is going to get promoted to being a starter opposite at Cisco. So I've got him 23rd, but JJ, do you get a feeling about Antonio Johnson, like many do, that he's got a chance to be a real breakthrough player this year?
Yeah, from last year, absolutely. I didn't expect anything from that dude, But yeah, I think he could break into your top, 15 next season.
I think that's fair. Yeah,
probably not anything higher than that.
Yeah, if he goes higher than that, it's going to have to be, I think, a really outstanding year, or you're going to have a lot of high-level players for the Jaguars that don't have the seasons that we're hoping they have.
Yeah, it actually could be a really bad thing.
But I would think it's more that I would say that he makes a push into the top 15. And then 24 and 25, I went more special teams. Again, I had Logan Cook 20th because I think he's one of the better punters in the NFL. At 24, I have Dewey Wingard, who we know about. He's a good safety when he has to play. I mean, he is done. That playoff run they had 2 years ago does not happen without Dewey Wingard making some incredible plays,
and
particularly
now he's
in
got
that
the
Baltimore
team.
game. Correct.
He might be the greatest kickoff specialist of all time with the new rule.
I would actually try to see if he can kick at all. Because I like the idea.
I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Of what the Chiefs floated is, why have your kicker do it? It's your last line of defense, and if the runner breaks through, you can't ask your kicker to make that. They're not going to make that tackle. A kicker is not going to make that tackle in space against an elite NFL runner. It's not going to happen. So as soon as the returner breaks through that initial wall, it's a touchdown. It might not be. It's going to be hard enough for a safety, but at least with a safety, you have a fighting chance of the safety at least trying to use the sideline to his advantage to get the returner out of bounds or possibly make a tackle. But I agree. I think that's a great point that because of the new kickoff rule, a player like Wingard takes on even added value. And again, even defensively, he has done well in those 3 safety looks. And I think now it's going to be hard for him to get a lot of defensive snaps, barring an injury. But I think he deserves to be in the top 25. This is somebody that has made season-changing plays for the Jaguars that I have 24th. And I don't really think you could put him that much higher, could you? I mean, if somebody else did this list, JJ,
starter.
do you think somebody would have him 13th? I can't.
No way.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So again, it speaks to the depth of the roster. And at 25, I have Devin Duvernay because he is an outstanding returner. And with this rule, this is what I think is going to happen. I think these coaches are going to go through training camp with this, and they're going to play some preseason games. And I do think they're going to just say, we're just going to concede the ball at the 30. It's just too hard.
It's 5 extra yards than usual.
Exactly.
Is it that big of a difference?
I'm sure there's some analytics that will tell them that, well, if you concede the 30, then the scoring chance goes this much higher percentage-wise.
Here's the thing: the analytics won't come into play until like next season because we'll have such a small sample size.
Correct. Well, they can use analytics to determine if you start at the 30, what's your odds of scoring based on starting at the 25. So that they will have. But what they will not have, to your point, is the impact of having a guy break one of these things. And a player like Devin Duvernay, now granted, they've told us you're going to have 2 guys back there, and teams are definitely going to try and kick away from Duvernay. And so we'll see who the second player becomes. Obviously, they drafted Keelan Robinson out of Texas for his return ability, so it's probably going to be him as we get through it. But my point is, Devin Duvernay is actually not a bad 4th receiver anyway, but he is an elite returner, and he's the 25th guy on my list. He's the last guy on my list of the Jaguars' top 25 players. So
he could make impacts.
Could make a huge impact. So I think particularly teams facing the Jaguars are going to just concede the 30. I think it's just going to take – I don't know whether that'll be week 1 or whether that'll take until week 6, but I think eventually it's going to be taken out of play because I just don't think teams are going to want to put and let Robinson break one. Let the Jaguars go to Miami and Keelan Robinson breaks one for, again, I don't think you can even say breaks one for 50 yards because if he breaks through the line, he's going to score, assuming Miami's kicker is the one that's back there. It's going to be a touchdown. This guy has 52 yards of space to work with. He is going to dust the kicker every time. And so, it's why I think it makes sense what the Chiefs floated about if you have a safety, anybody that can even remotely kick a football, don't you have to at least experiment with it in camp? And maybe that is the better alternative to this rule. I think this is going to have massive implications when we get into the season.
And there's some of these dudes in high school that were the kicker. I mean, that's how it always works.
Well, if you're a great athlete, normally you can do a little bit of everything.
Boot the ball.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some big boys out there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, but it's just asking a lot of your kicker.
And every time the Jags, by the way, would get those 5 yards, you have to make a separate stat for Duvernay.
Yes.
This is +5 for him every single time they do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
He'll get absolutely no credit for it.
Yeah. No, I like that. I'm always a big fan of stuff that doesn't show up on the box score, so I like that suggestion. So that's our 25. So we'll wrap this up. But I just want to give you the guys. Again, we didn't include rookies. So these are the guys that didn't even make the top 25. We've got Travis Gibson, who's going to be the top rotational pass rusher, who has done really good things in the past in Chicago. Chad Muma, who is stepping into a much bigger role, it appears, in his 3rd year. Brenton Strange, who they took in the 2nd round last year at tight end. Luke Fortner, who was at least started 2 years at center. I mean, Mitch Morse is going to be the center, but isn't it nice that if something at least your backup has played 2 years? I get it. Yeah, he struggled last year, but if Luke Fortner is like your 27th best veteran before you even get to the rookies, probably not bad. And again, this isn't ranking him. I'm just throwing out guys that didn't make it. Tank Bigsby didn't make it. Tyler Shatley didn't make it. Mac Jones didn't make it because I don't think he's going to obviously play unless something happens to Trevor, but it's worth mentioning that they have him on this roster. We'll see about a player like Cooper Hodges, what he can be. Yasir Abdullah, what can he be? Ventrell Miller, Tyler Lacey, all these second-year guys. Daniel Thomas, who's an outstanding special teams player. Braswell and Brown in the secondary. So that's the point. Not all these guys are going to hit. But if 4 of them hit, if 4 of the guys that are not in this top 25 hit for the Jaguars, it is going to be a big boost to this team. So, again, JJ, that's it. You've been a good sport. I hope I didn't bore you to death with this exercise all week. But that is my evaluation of what I believe is a very deep Jaguars roster.
Mission accomplished.
There you go. All right, well, we've got one more segment to go on the Frangie Show. We will wrap it up and send you off to the weekend and get you ready for Hacker After Dark. That is up next. You're listening to 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The College Baseball World Series Finals start on Saturday in Omaha, Nebraska. Tennessee taking on Texas A&M. It is a best 2 out of 3 series. The Volunteers with the #1 overall seed in the tournament. Tennessee minus a 1.5 on Saturday, plus 104 on the run line. The Aggies getting a 1.5, minus 135. Texas A&M is plus 144 on the money line for Game 1. The Volunteers minus 188. The over-under run total for Game 1 is at 10.5. As far as the championship, Tennessee minus 194 to win it all. Texas A&M plus 154. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010XL.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow. Okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The Doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new Walk-Off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Let's go! Another night of excitement and fun with your Jacksonville Sharks is here. Join us this Saturday, June 22nd in the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for some exciting football action as we battle the Massachusetts Pirates. Check out our awesome family packs. You get 4 tickets 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. And it's Star Wars night. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a free lightsaber. Are you with the Rebels?
Red 5, I'm going in.
Are the Stormtroopers? Get photos with your favorite characters. Hang out with a game for our autograph session and player jersey auction.
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun and excitement of Sharks football and Star Wars night this Saturday, June 22nd at 7. For tickets, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com.
Let's go. Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
Calling all disc golf enthusiasts. Play It Again Sports Jacksonville wants your used discs. Now through June 29th, earn cash on the spot plus $5 in sports bucks for every $25 of disc golf gear we buy. Play It Again Sports also stocks new discs from your favorite brands like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, and more. Stop in today and shop our huge selection. Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza or online at playitagainjacks.com.
Andrew Gibson here, sports fans, and the next time you're driving by Kuhn Flowers on Beach Boulevard, why not stop in and smell the roses? Kuhn Flowers has totally changed the face of their store inside and out. Send someone you love a floral arrangement today from Kuhn Flowers.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. JJ Da Silva. I am Hays Carlyon. Frank Frangie on vacation. We'll be back on Monday. JJ, it's been a fun show. We did the college football playoff thanks to Bruce Feldman at the Athletic. You like Georgia, the 2 seed, beating Texas, the 5. I can't disagree with that. Florida, I think they can go 9-3 and make the playoff, but they've got to go undefeated in the Swamp. They've got to win in Tallahassee in the finale, and their losses have to be at Tennessee, to Georgia and Jacksonville, and at Texas. It's going to be a fun weekend, JJ. Enjoy it, everybody out there. Hacker After Dark is up next. You're listening to 1010XL, 92.5 FM.